this all starts September 4th of last year, my junior year in high school. I lost my girlfriend. Those times really stink. The next day I called my mother to tell her that, but I found out that my youngest brother now had kidney problems. The next day I called my mother again to check on my brother. The doctors had found something in my second brother's heart. I was praying. I was like, God, why exactly is all this happening to me? It's not a big deal, losing a girlfriend or whatever. I mean, for teenagers, it's kind of like, heartbreak thing, whatever, but move on pretty quickly. But anyway, then the next thing, your brother's having some kidney problems. And the next thing, your other brother's having heart problems. And it's like, when is enough to start losing something, I was praying. I was like, God, you got to help me here, because I can't even see you. How am I supposed to believe in something I can't see? Which we all have those things that, that we believe in that we can't see, the wind and stuff like that. But there's proof that it's there. So I was praying and praying. I called my mom back again to find out that my grandmother, my mom's mom, has cancer again for like the third or fourth time. Then I was praying again. I was like, God, you got to do something for me, because if not, I'm done with Christianity. I'm done with, praying to something I can't see and nothing's changing. All these horrible things lining up one after another. A solid 7 days straight of nothing but, not going to say a word, but, then it was that weekend. It was on a Tuesday, September 4th. It was 4 days before my birthday, so it was horrible. The next day was my birthday. I was in the woods with some of my friends. Eli was one of them. We went on a boys club camp out. I believe Mr. Barnes, you might have been there too. Yeah, that was a fun weekend. Then that Sunday, I called my mom again. I was looking at the weather and a hurricane was coming. I was like, this is horrible, man. Like, what is this? And at that time I was like, God, I'm done. I'm not participating in any more, Christian stuff at all, because it's pointless. You're not doing anything for me. What is there for me to do for you? I'm done. I told him, these are my words that I said. I said, screw you, which you never tell God that. So I was praying, Lord, please, I need you. Nothing's happening. God hasn't helped me. I'm done with Christianity. If there's anything changes, and if nothing changes, I went through all this and you haven't done a thing to help me. If nothing changes, I'm done with you, God, and Christianity. How am I supposed to believe in you anyways? I can't even see you or hear you. As humans, we rely on our senses way too much. As science says we have, our hearing abilities, our seeing, taste. We rely on those and they fail us way too much, because if they didn't, we wouldn't have people that were blind or people that were deaf. I think the greatest sense we have is something we can't see. It's more of a feeling inside. It's what faith is. The next day, I found out a hurricane was coming to hit my family, and at this point, I was done with Christianity. The week before all this prior, I was at Fletcher, and I was working with my grandfather who works there. He works in plant services department and maintenance. And we were working on something. I believe we were putting in a new window or a door or something for somebody. And I had this chill go down my back, and it was like a picture of this guy in my head. He had a real bad leg. And he wore glasses. And I went and spoke to my teacher, my math teacher, Dean Sigsworth, and I explained to him what had happened. He thought it was kind of funny or whatever, and I did too, because I was like, it's weird. Like, I could care less, honestly. But we go on our class history trip, and I think we were in Boston or something, and it's like our second day into the trip, and the same guy that I saw in this little vision, if you want to call it that, walked right up to my math teacher and started talking to him. I was like, oh, this is kind of funny, like this doesn't happen, Satan's playing games with me or something. But I called my grandfather, my other grandfather who lives in Charleston, South Carolina, and I told him what had happened. He kind of chuckled and thought it was kind of funny, but he said that's a good thing that I got to see somebody like that. But what I did was I ran down the street, I got him some food, and I prayed with him. And it's very funny because I think maybe God might send angels sometimes to show you that everything's going to be okay. And so what had happened was I went and got him some food. We were in a big parking lot. Not a parking lot, but like a big, there was roads and everything, but it was wide open. I mean, there was no trees, no nothing. And there was maybe, I don't know, probably 200 people there or whatever, but it was all scattered out so you could see somebody. And time I gave him the food, I turned around and I walked about 10 steps. And I turned around, the man was gone, vanished. I personally do think it's an angel because of the simple fact that the man's leg was so bad, like it'd just be horrible. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he had like a book bag and everything on. So I called my grandfather as I was in line at back of Dairy Queen, and I let him know what was going on, and he was like, "That's kind of strange, you know, but I'm glad you got to help somebody, you know, because the point of life is to serve others, not ourselves." So as I called him, I hung up the phone. I was going to order me a chicken sandwich, you know, chicken's pretty good, so. I had another chill go down my back, and this time it was really weird. I saw another guy in my head. He only had one leg. He was in a wheelchair, and I thought this was funny. I started thinking to myself, "I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it." I bought this man food anyway, and I bought him a specific meal. Anyway, I go outside and look like an idiot trying to, you know, find this guy. And I asked my classmates, "Have you ever seen this guy?" No, nobody. Nobody's seen him at all. And so as I'm walking around looking like an idiot, I'm like, "God, you've got to do something because I feel stupid right now," you know. And so we kept walking, and we ended up in this little park, I'd say, in the middle of the city. There was green benches, like, you know, those green benches you'd see in a city park or whatever. And I sat down. I talked to the class pastor at the time. Her name's Amanda. And I asked her, I said, "I need some help trying to find this guy." She was like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. You need to find somebody else." And so I was like, "All right." So she walked with me. We found this other homeless guy. I was laying on a bench. I thought he was asleep, so I went and put the food down, and I walked away. And I said, "Amanda, something doesn't seem right." I said, "I need to go see if he's awake, you know, because I want to make sure he gets it, you know, to someone else that didn't steal the food, you know." I walked back around there. His eyes were this big. And I said, "Sir, I brought you food." He said, "I don't need it. Go give it to the man." Like he specifically said the man who really needs it. So I thought to myself, at this point, yeah, God, I think this is one of those mind games that Satan likes to play with us. So I picked up the food anyway. And I start thinking, I feel so stupid, man, because I could be eating this chicken burger myself. I don't, and I'm turned around thinking, you know, shaking my head, and I turn around. 15 minutes later, I turn around, my class is shouting my name, "Wyatt, Wyatt, Wyatt." The guy with one leg and a wheelchair is in the middle of a 4-lane highway. I kid you not. Yeah, cars flying everywhere. My first reaction was drop everything and run out there, which I did, and I have no idea how I did not get hit by a car, but I didn't. And it was very awesome because as I helped him to the side of the road, I went back and got the food, and I asked him if I could pray with him. And he said yes. So I got down on my knees and I prayed with him on the side of the road. And to my surprise, right after he prayed as well, which was really cool, you know. So after that, I get up, you know, my class is looking at me like, "What did you just do?" So I go around the corner and I start bawling my eyes out. I said, "God, why are you using someone so broken like me that's went through all this trash in this last week to help these people?" And I thought to myself, sometimes God, I kept thinking to myself, and then another one of mine and Eli's friends is Josh. His mom came around the corner and she spoke to me and she said, "Wyatt, what's wrong?" And I said, "Miss Myers, I have a serious problem here." I said, "All this stuff's happening to me, and yet I get to help all these other people." And she said, "Sometimes in life, God uses broken people to heal other people because our stories can help other people. It can be the missing link in their puzzle that they need to rebuild themselves back up again." And so I was like, yeah, you know, I mean, cool. So something that a teacher said to me one time, is actually our assistant principal. Well, as I was looking back at my life and everything that I'd done before to cause all these problems and everything, and for all these other stuff to come on board, I thought to myself, like, what is there really to live for anymore? this is before all this week, the week of helping these homeless. I actually got to help 4 people total, and I only ate in like a week and a half. How long was our trip? About a week and a half. Week and a half. I only ate twice. And I wasn't hungry though. That's the thing. I just wasn't hungry. Something I realized was through helping these people was there's a verse in Matthew. It's Matthew 4:4. And I went and talked to my Bible teacher at the time, Miss Eileen States, and I told her that I wanted to start a homeless thing to help homeless people. And she asked me why, and I said 2 things. I said because I want to feed these homeless people in 2 different ways, physically and spiritually, because in Matthew 4:4 it says, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. And so I figured if we could do something for these people, it would help them. I mean, because if someone doesn't have anything to lift them up or something to live towards, what are they going to do? They're going to like kill themselves. They just don't have any motivation in their life to keep going. But at that point, right after all this week and everything had happened, I realized like it was time to make a change and a difference in some people's lives. But one thing that Mr. Derby said to me was, in life, because this world's a dark place to live in. It's horrible. It's trash. Any minute, honestly, I wish God would come, because it'd be nice to, as many things as we like and we enjoy on this earth, I think it would be nicer to walk on streets of gold than to have beautiful trucks and stuff. But he said, in this dark world, when we fall and we bust our legs and stuff, we all fall to the ground. But where's the next place we look? That's up. That's like when our lives are trash and we fall, our lives are at the bottom of the pit. Where do we look? Up to God, the flashlight, Jesus, the light of the world. So that's what I did, and I try to share that with other people ever since. But there's this one last thing that I wanted to do that was all right with you guys. It's a little story that I found, and I'm going to need some kind of participation, kind of in a way. So, Sally, if you can come up here for a second. Can you bring that bottle of water in a cup that's down there? Thank you. Here, stay up here. I'm not going to fill it all the way up. But, all right, so I'm going to ask Sally to walk back and forth down the aisle, twice. But there's something I need from all of you guys. I know this is a little different. But I need you guys to try to not distract her, but call her name and see what she does. But Sally, I don't want you to pay attention to anybody. I want you to walk back and forth, and just keep your eyes on this cup, okay? All right.
Sally. 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 Sally.
Your shoes untied.
Can I have some water? Sally. Can I have some water?
Sally, you can get that. You can share that water.
Watch that mic.
You can share that water.
Thank you. I'm going to drink this now. Okay. There is a purpose to this. Now let me read this story. Okay. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but I'm gonna read it because I think it ties in just a little bit. A lady went to her pastor one day and said, "Pastor, I won't be attending your church anymore." The pastor responded, "Why?" The lady said, I saw a woman gossiping about another church member, a man that is a hypocrite. The worship team living so wrong. People looking at their phones during service, among so many other things wrong in your church. The pastor replied, "Okay, like you ain't got problems too, but before you go, do me a favor. Take a full glass of water and walk around the church 3 times without spilling a drop on the ground. Afterwards, leave the church if you desire." The lady thought, "Too easy. Psh, I can get this done and leave. Get on with my life." And see, let me pause right there. I think that's the thing. I think we base our relationship on of God based off of how we see other people live theirs. Based off of, we're Seventh-day Adventists. We keep the Sabbath. Everyone holds the Sabbath to a different degree, I think. Some people literally don't do anything but stare at a wall maybe and read, which there's no problem with that. I respect anyone's way of honoring the Sabbath. Some might, watch a Sabbath movie or something like that, or some may play a board game as a family, come together as a family unit. But I think at the end of the day, how you're honoring God is what you do individually. Well, as a family, yeah, but I think it's more importantly, I don't think you should base your relationship with God how on someone else's is. Because at the end of the day, the person sitting next to you, whether you're married to them, whether you're friends with them, they can't get you to heaven. So I think it's more of up to us to read the map so we can get to heaven that way. So let me continue this. So I'm going to start this right here again. The pastor replied, "Okay, but before you do me a favor. Take a full glass of water and walk around the church 3 times without spilling a drop on the ground. Afterwards, leave the church if you desire." The lady thought, too easy. She walked 3 times around the church, as the pastor had asked. When she finished, she told the pastor she was ready to leave. The pastor said, "Before you leave, I want to ask you some questions. When you were walking around the church, did you see anyone gossiping?" "No." The lady replied, "No." "Did you see any hypocrites?" The lady said, "No." "Anyone on their phones?" "No," the lady replied. "You know why?" the pastor asked. "No," the lady said. "You were focused on the glass to make sure you didn't stumble or spill any water. It's the same with our life. When we keep our eyes on Jesus, we don't have to see the mistakes of others. We will reach out a helping hand to them and concentrate on our walk with Jesus. Christ said, 'Follow me,' not follow other Christians." So again, just what I was saying, I think the point of ourselves is to, just like Jesus did, he came to serve and not be served. So I think as us serving, constantly doing what Jesus has asked us to do, reading our Bible, reading scriptures, living the way he did, that's the point. I don't think we'll see mistakes and flaws in other people. I think we'll see an opportunity to help them. So that's probably a little short, but that's all I have for today. So should I pray or okay. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you that we could come together, Lord, and hear what you have given me to share with other people. Father, Lord, I pray that you be with all the family members, Lord, that are sick or that have passed away recently. I pray that you help each and every one of us, Lord, to live as you did. You came to serve and not be served. You came to not be selfish. You gave your life as a ransom for many. So, Lord, I pray that we all that we're thankful for the trials that we go through in life, Lord, because they build our character, they break us down, and they help build us back up again. So I pray, Lord, that you lead us and guide us in all that we do, say, and think. I pray that you be with our country, our president, and people that are in high power. Lord, I pray that you use that in a good way to help each and every one of us. I pray that you send your Holy Spirit to be with us today. In Jesus' name, amen.